The 6 Mega Man games on the NES still hold up as some of the best 2D platformers of all time. However, when tasked with ranking them, there can be some wildly different lists. Do you prefer the classic Mega Man 2 despite it not having upgrades like Rush or the Mega Buster? Or is something like Mega Man 6, a fully fleshed out, beautiful, late release NES game, more your cup of tea? Let me know your own personal rankings in the comments. These are usually very interesting to read. Today I'm going to be ranking all 6 based on my own experiences. So be sure to check out my playlist of all my Mega Man reviews if you want more in-depth discussions about each title. Keep in mind that these are my rankings based on my current feelings shortly after completing the cycle of reviewing all 6. So without further delay, let's get into our list. Coming in at number 6, we do have Mega Man 1. Yeah, I think this is maybe the most obvious pick of the bunch. Mega Man 1 is certainly lacking in a lot of ways compared to the other titles. The soundtrack's not quite as good as a lot of the others, and some of the color palettes are a bit strange. The gameplay also has some immensely frustrating parts. Other things like dying on spikes no matter if you've been hit or not were quickly remedied in other entries. However, there are some positives about Mega Man 1. I mean, it laid the foundation for an immense series moving forward, and it's a nice game to quickly play and complete every now and then. I had a good time making the video, I remember, and I know I cited the pick up and play aspects of the game as one of its strong suits. Coming in at number 5, we have Mega Man 5. Despite me being someone who defends this game, I still have to put it lower than every entry except the first. Mega Man 5 did not innovate a whole lot like many of the other titles. Just think about the jump from 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 compared to 4 to 5. Mega Man 5 has some laziness in its presentation for sure. However, we still have a lot of high quality stages and a solid soundtrack. There's some tidbits of innovation in 5, like the jet ski segment in Wave Man stage, and the gravity reversal in Gravity Man stage. The game has flashes of greatness, but I certainly understand those who say it was a bit stale. Overall, the soundtrack took a more laid-back approach than a lot of the predecessors. Some of the tracks are big hits with me, like Wave Man's theme, but others definitely missed, like Starman. Mega Man 5 will always be a special game for me because it was the first video I did in my review format. It got this channel off the ground and it laid my own foundations for many videos to follow. So yes, I'm giving it a lower ranking, but just understand that it's an important game to me. Coming in at number 4 is Mega Man 3. This was one of my more controversial videos. The folks who were angered by my opinion that I don't like the Doc Robot stages seem to forget the rest of that video. I praised the game greatly. I still love Mega Man 3, but mainly just the 8 Robot Master stages. The game really falls flat for me in the Doc Robots and the Wily Castle. However, those 8 Robot Master stages just may be some of the best in the entire series. The game has an incredible soundtrack as usual, and the color palette's really improved in Mega Man 3 compared to the first 2. All those points were also said in that original video, mind you, and I do like the game. For me though, it's far from the best, and that's why it gets a middle of the road ranking here. It's okay to have different thoughts about a game, and I won't apologize for my own opinion. However, I will admit my delivery was maybe a bit harsh, and perhaps that's why so many folks think I don't like the game. I would change the way I discuss the Doc Robot stages since evidently that's what so many folks focused on. And just a quick aside, the comments that crack me up the most are when someone tries to turn this into some big generational debate of millennials versus Gen Z or whatever you are. It's ridiculous to think that my criticism of the Doc Robot stages comes from me simply not being skilled at the game, and that the game itself is perfect. Mind you, I have beaten this game on an NES more than once, and I've finished plenty of other challenging NES games. These comments insist that because my birth year starts with 199 instead of 198, that it's physically impossible for me to be skilled at NES games. Whenever I get a comment that starts going on about my generation, I just laugh to myself and go, another one of these. Guys, I just don't like 4 stages in a video game from 1990. It's not that deep. Anyways, let's get into the top half. Coming in at number 3, we have Mega Man 6. No, I don't attribute recency bias to me putting Mega Man 6 this high up. I genuinely love this game. In the video I mentioned how much fun Rush Jet is, and I will certainly echo that claim. It's one of the most fun upgrades in any NES game, and it improved upon the stale formula for Rush Jet immensely. Mega Man 6 features the polish that many would expect from a late-release NES game like this one. We have ridiculously beautiful color schemes in each level, and a soundtrack of very high quality. Every theme is great, despite the fact that I can't seem to remember them after playing the game. Again, I'll stand pat that most of the themes are really solid, but they do not blow me away like how music from other entries do. Overall, though, the presentation is excellent. The game falls short in its storyline, with Mr. X being one of the dumbest villains ever created, but that's such a minor part of the game when you look at the big picture. Other things like the alternative paths to collect the letters for beat and overall stellar gameplay are what put Mega Man 6 in the top half for me. Coming in at number 2, I have Mega Man 2. Yeah, some may be pissed that this one isn't number 1, and I guess I need to revise my list of top 10 NES games if I was going to just do one per series. Mega Man 2 is the first in the series that I ever played back when I used to emulate NES games. I'm glad I started out with this iconic game, and it led me down the path of enjoying this whole series so much. However, looking at the game objectively, it is far from perfect. Stages like Crash Man with its frustrating vertical segments drive me insane. The presentation of things like the waterfalls in Bubble Man stage are brutal to look at. Despite some flaws, Mega Man 2 is still an absolute top-tier NES game, and my childhood memories playing it are irreplaceable. When fully analyzing the game, though, I have to give my top spot to a different entry. So yes, coming in at number 1, we have Mega Man 4. Mega Man 4 strikes the best balance of everything. We have the fully equipped Mega Man with Rush and the Mega Buster. There's a decent side villain in Dr. Cossack. Well, at least he's way better than Mr. X. The color palettes of every stage start to show huge improvements here over some of the earlier entries. And the soundtrack has some absolute bangers like Pharaoh Man and Skull Man. Overall, yes, Mega Man 4 is my absolute favorite of the original 6. That was a bit surprising to me even, because this was one that I had heard criticism of back in the day. Replaying it both on my NES and on the Legacy Collection really solidified just how much fun this game is. There's a fair share of difficult parts, but they don't feel cheap like the difficulty in the first one. Generally, things are right where I want them in terms of all the major aspects I typically covered in my reviews. This game is fantastic, and I'll likely sing its praises for years to come. So yeah, that's my list. I know many people have been asking for that in the comments of my other videos, and I always dodge the questions. I wanted to make sure I gave each game a fair shake by doing reviews of them first. After all this time, I was finally able to make this video. So tell me, which Mega Man games are your favorite? Let me know in the comments. I'm also a really big fan of Mega Man 7 and X2, but those are on the Super Nintendo, which we just may have to rank next. So thanks for watching.